Welcome to ZICA Academy YouTube channel. In this section of my tutorial, I'll be examining index numbers. This is my second video on the topic. In this second video, I will examine specifically weighted index numbers. Weighted index numbers. Weighted index numbers. Weighted index number is the type of index in which weights are attached. The type of index in which weights are attached to each item or commodity. The type of index in which weights are attached to each item or commodity. That is weighted index number. This weighted index number will be divided into two. We have weighted aggregative index, weighted aggregative index. Then we also have weighted average of relative index, weighted average of relative index. So I will be starting with the first one, which is weighted aggregative index. Weighted aggregative index. As the name implies, weight, that means weight will be attached. Aggregative means total, the sum of everything, the total, that is the meaning. So this weighted aggregative index, it shall be divided into four. Number one is Laspeyres. Number two, we have paste. Then number three, we have Fisher ID. Fisher index. Number four, we have Marshall Edgeworth. Marshall Edgeworth. So the weighted aggregative index shall be categorized into these four. Number one, we have Laspeyres index or Laspeyres aggregative index. This Laspeyres method was invented in 1864 by Laspeyres. So it makes use of the base year quantity from the word last, that is last, from the word last. Last is the same as base. So this list is derived from last year, base year. So it means this method make use of the base year quantity as the weight. This method make use of the base year quantity as the weight. It make use of the base year quantity as the weight. Remember, last, base year, last year, which is talking about base year. Laspeyres index, Laspeyres equals to, remember we have examined simple price index. We said it is simple aggregative price index. We've examined simple aggregative price index. Remember we are examining weighted aggregative. The word aggregative or aggregate means total, which is sum of price index, which is price of the current year over sum of price of the base year. Price of the base year. This is the simple aggregative price index. Now, if you now want to convert it to the weighted aggregative price index, Laspeyres weighted aggregative price index, I've told you that this method makes use of the base year quantity. It makes use of the base year quantity as the weight. So that means the weight to attach must be the quantity of the base year. So which is quantity of the base year, quantity of the base year times 100 over 1. This is the formula for calculating the Laspeyres price index. Number 2, we have Paasche. Or some used to say Paasche price index. So this method was invented in 1864 it was invented by the German statistician in the year 1874. It was invented in 1874. And it makes use of the current year quantity as a weight. This par from the word present year, which is current, present year is talking about current year. I've told you the last is talking about last year, while par from the word present. So it's made use of the present year, that is current year quantity as a weight. So this method make use of the current year quantity as the weight. Remember, we said the Laspeyres make use of the last year, that is the base year quantity as the weight. While this one make use of the present year, which is the current year quantity as the weight. So that is the difference between the Laspeyres and the Paasche or Paasche, whichever one any way you pronounce it. So now, the formula for index now for Paasche index will be equal to, remember the aggregative price index is sum of Pn over sum of Po. This is the simple aggregative price index. This is the formula. Now, for you to convert this price index to a weighted index, you need to attach weight to this. Now, I've told you that the weight to use must be the current year weight. And the current year weight is quantity. Current year, which is quantity of current year, multiplied by current year quantity, times 100. Remember the quantity we use here. This is QO. This is QN. Current, this is base year. This is current year. This symbol stands for sum of the PN stands for current price of current year of current year. The PO stands for price of base year. The QO stands for QO, quantity of base year of base year. So that is the definition of the variables in the formula. Take note of that. But for this one now, the PN stands for, remember this symbol stands for sum of PN stands for price of current year Let me put it here. This is sum of PN, current year price, or price of current year. The PO stands for, as same meaning as before, quantity of base year, while QN stands for quantity of current year. Quantity of current year. So these are the definition. I will leave the Fisher Marshall Edgeworth. I will leave that till another video. So now let me provide work example for Laspeyres and Paasche. Example: use the following table to calculate price index numbers for the year 2016 by taking 2011 as the base year and using the following methods: A. Laspeyre Index. B. Paasche Index. You are given year 2011 and you are equally given year 2016. You have the commodity item A, B, C, and D. You have the price for 2011, 14, 13, 12, 10. Quantity for 2011 is 45, 15, 10, and 5. Then for 2016, price is 20, 19, 14, and 12. While the quantity for 2016 is 35, 20, 10, and 11. So you want to calculate the Laspeyre index. Now let's have the solution to the question. Solution. Now, since you are to take 2011 as the base year, your base year is 2011. That means the price for 2011 will be PO, while the quantity for 2011 will be QO, since the base year is 2011. Then the current year is 2016. Therefore, you can take this to be PN, while the quantity to be QN. And where you have more than 1 year, so instead of putting N, if you have maybe 2016, 2017 as the current year, you want to calculate index for 2016 and that of 2017 separately. So you can take this to be P1, Q1, then that of 2017 you can have that as P2, Q2 respectively. So whichever one, if you still put P1 here and Q1 here, it's still correct. Now, the items we are given, the items. We have 4 items, A, B, C, and D. These are the 4 items given in the question, A, B, C, and D. Then the PO as given, we have 14, 13, 12, 10. We have PO, which is 14, 13, 12, and 10. Then we also have QO, 45, 15, 10, 5. QO, 45, 15, 10, and 5. Then in the same question, you are given PN to be 20, 19, 14, and 12. PN is 20, 19, 14, and 12. Then we are equally given QN, and that is 35, 20, 10, and 8. 35, 20, 10, and 8. Now, you now go back to the requirement. The first requirement A, you have to use Laspeyres index. You now put the formula for Laspeyres index based on Laspeyres. The formula is sum of price of the current year over sum of price of the base year. Then the weight now will be, since last is talking about the last year, the base will be the base year, which is QO times 100 over 1. By virtue of this formula, you will need sum of PNQO. Let's create that. PNQO. PNQO means PN times QO. Our PN is 20 for item A. PN 20. QO is 45. So 20 times 45, that gives us 900. Then PN 19, QO 15. 19 times 15, that gives us 285. Then we have PN 14, QO 10. 14 times 10, that is 140. PN 12, QO 5. 12 times 5, that is 60. 60. Then this symbol means sum of. Sum of means total. You have to total it. Now let's total that. 60 plus 140 plus 285 plus 900. The total is 1,385. You have the result to be 1,385. By virtue of the same formula, we need POQO. So let's create a column for that. POQO. This is PO and this is QO. Therefore, you need 14 times 45. 14 times 45, that gives us 630. 630. Then 13 times 15. 13 times 15, that gives us 195. Then 12 times 10, that is 120. Then 10 times 5, that is 50. Because of this symbol, then you sum them up. So you have 630 plus 195 plus 120 plus 50. That is total 995. 995. The next thing is to substitute into the formula. So summation, then you need the index. Laspeyres index for 2016. 2016. The sum of PNQO, that is 1385. 1385 over sum of POQO. POQO is 995 times 100. 1385 divided by 995 times 100. So we have 139. 139.2, let me say 196%, which is approximately equal to 139%. So the Laspeyres index for 2016 is 139%. That is the solution to A part of the question. Now let's take the B part of the question. Paasche's index. Paasche index. The formula is sum of the simple aggregative price index is price of the current year over sum of price of the base year. Now, we said this P stands for present year, which is current year. That the weight, the quantity that will be added as a weight will be the current year quantity. quantity of the current year, times 100 over 1. So by virtue of this formula, you will need Pn, Qn. Let's create a column for that. Pn, Qn. Pn, this is Pn column, and this is Qn column. So the product of the two items, the two columns rather. 20, which is Pn, times 35, which is Qn. That gives us 700. Then we also have 19 times 20. 19 times 20, that gives us 380. Then PNQN, 14 times 10, that is 140. PNQN, 12 times 8, that gives us 96. By virtue of the formula, because of this symbol, you need the sum of the items. $96 plus 140 plus 380 plus 700, that is total 1,316. 1,316. Remember, we are calculating the purchase index. Now that we've gotten the PNQN, then by virtue of the same formula, you need POQN. Have we calculated that? No, we had PNQO. So what we need is POQN. Let's create a column for that. POQN. POQN. This is PO column, and this is QN column. Therefore, you have 14 times 35. 14 times 35, that gives us 490. Then we also have PO 13, QN 20. 13 times 20, that gives us 260. Then we also have PO, which is 12, QN, which is 10. Then 12 times 10, that gives us 120. Then we also have PO, which is 10, QN, which is 8. 10 times 8, that gives us 80. By virtue of this formula, we need sum of POQN. So you sum up everything in order to get the total. Now you have 490 plus 260 plus 120 plus 80. That is totaled 950. Therefore, the sum of POQN is 950. Now, the next thing is to substitute into the formula. Now, let's substitute. The sum of PNQN, the sum of it is 1,316. 1,316 over sum of POQN. POQN is 950 times 100. So, you have 1,316 divided by 950 times 100. That gives us 138.53%. 1,316 divided by 950. That gives us 138.53. So we have 138.53%. Therefore, Paasche Aggregative Index for 2016 is approximately equals to 139%. So I will stop this video here. In my next video, I will examine Fisher and Marshall Edwards Aggregative Index. Please make sure you drop the love emoji, like the video, also share it with others. Thanks for watching ZICA.